Hey everybody, Tony D. Little Joan, I don't know, she ran away after halfway through the first take. Um, so I didn't want to make this video, but I have to. It's not looking good for Trump. And we have to start thinking about the future. Um, and look, there's still an extreme long shot that Trump will pull out something legal or possibly extremely illegal. But this isn't about that video. Let's assume, for the sake of the video, that Trump is done. First thing you got to do is look on the bright side. We had Trump. That we had Trump at all is a miracle. He was an insurgent candidate, and he did tremendous good while he was in office, especially on the foreign policy front. I kind of knew it was over the moment he tweeted, "I'm trying to keep this country from killing itself," basically, he said. Something like that. And I said, whoa, what a tweet. But it was true. And I knew at that moment, like, Trump, for the first time, sounded a little like, uh-oh, I think I'm going to lose this thing. I really thought SCOTUS would come through. I think if they had heard the case, they would have been forced to. And I guess that's probably why they wouldn't even hear it, because it was sort of check and mate in terms of the logic of the case. But if they don't hear it, they don't have to worry about the logic of the case. They just need to give a reason why they won't hear it. And that's the last stop for all those cases. I mean, they're all done. There's a handful of other cases around. I don't even know if they can cobble enough, if they want them all, to make a difference at this point. It's either a big play in Congress, and I wouldn't hold your breath for them saving you, or Trump calls the chief of staffs and says, arrest the Democrats. I mean, either way, that's, I wouldn't say that any of that's going to happen. I don't think Trump wants to be known as the first American emperor, even though some of you out there totally want that. And, you think you do, but it's a really bad idea, because no one's immune from corruption. And it would be bad. It would be bad. So, looking to the future. First, be thankful we had Trump. Second, we got to keep the community together. I mean, there is power in the Trump vote. Look at Goya, right? So, Goya got flagged. I forget why they initially got flagged. And then, it was AOC said something stupid. And then Trump was basically like, hey, let's support Goya. And they had record sales, right? That's power. That's power that those multinational corporations aren't going to ignore. So that's why we need to kind of stick together and keep in touch, and try to support the community of Trump voters, I guess you'd call them. Trumpers, whatever you want to call us. If we can keep that going, keep in touch in places like the Donald.win, it's probably the easiest place, we can still exert power and influence. Now, maybe we won't be running the show, at least not for a while, but that power and influence has to be respected, because what the Trump voters can giveth, the Trump voters can taketh away. Look at Fox. Yeah, not doing so good these days, Fox. Looks like the king will be the kingmaker for Newsmax and OAN, right? They'll move up the charts. Fox will continue to slide into, I don't know, CNN slot, which is, I don't know what CNN's going to do. A lot of changes are going to happen when Biden gets in. Without Trump, I don't know if any of these media companies are going to survive, quite frankly, which could usher in a new era of conservative news media that dominate and are supported by fans. If you've got 70 million people who watch OAN and Newsmax, and you can't even get 1 million or 500,000 people at, say, CNN or MSNBC, I think we know who's going to be more influential. And that's power. That's power. And using that power, hopefully we could take back the House and Senate in 2022, thereby canceling the rest of Harris or Biden presidency, making them lame ducks, and laying the groundwork for 2024 for Trump to return. Hopefully by then we could have all the, let's call, we could have a reforming of the voting system, let's say. Yeah, just a checkup, if you will, YouTube. Not that I'm implying anything was wrong with this election. See my other video on BitChute. But yeah, that we could get rid of Dominion voting and have a more consistent voting apparatus. Even if Trump doesn't run in 2024, Trump is definitely going to be a kingmaker. I mean, Trump is extremely influential. And the huge silver lining in all this is the Democrats are still going to tear themselves to pieces. They are in the midst of a civil war. They have been. The only thing that kept them from killing each other is Trump, because they were united on hating Trump, but they're not united on much else. Already, Biden is bristling under the pressure to be pulled even further left. Some audio leaked of, I guess it was a civil rights caucus. Somebody called it a black caucus. I'm not sure. But basically, he's starting to push back against the wokies, as somebody called them. I call them woketards, but somebody else called them wokies, which bodes well. Because then the next step is they're going to want to remove Biden, and maybe Biden doesn't want to go. So there could be a battle brewing between Pelosi, Biden, AOC, Kamala Harris, and it could get ugly. And while they're doing all that back and forth, what's getting done? Policy? No. They're too busy fighting for power amongst themselves to actually do any damage to the country. That can happen. That paralysis could be real. There's also a shot, although it's a long shot, I think, at this point, that one of the rhino cons in Georgia will get elected, which will give the Republicans 51 votes. And while I don't have any confidence they'll stymie everything, they'll at least stymie some of the big stuff. And keep in mind, even if the rhino cons don't get in, there are certain extreme things that they will likely never pass through Congress. There are still other senators, and the Democrats in Georgia would be probably two of these kinds of senators that would be in a state where, oh, I just took the state. I don't want to do anything too lefty here. Or not. I mean, the way things are going, it's so weird. But, I think the Democrats will really, really be, they've exhausted themselves just to win this thing. And I think ultimately it's going to be a Pyrrhic victory. Yeah, they won, but they've practically destroyed themselves in the process. What could they do really to build themselves up? They've all but destroyed their credibility. The stuff about Hunter's now starting to come out. And I think you're going to see more of it in the mainstream media simply because what else do they have to cover once Trump leaves? And Trump has another month. Yes, he has a month to declassify things, to pardon Assange and Snowden, to basically stick a huge middle finger into the eye of the establishment. And I think he will. Oh, yeah, he will. If he declassifies everything, it could be very embarrassing for not only the Democrats, but a lot of the rhino cons who embarrassed him. I don't think any of the true Trumpian conservatives have anything to worry about in that area. Even Trump himself. So I say, let the declassification begin. And if the mainstream media thinks it can keep a blackout on all that, I think they got another thing coming because they're going to be in trouble. They're going to be desperate for content. And when Trump releases all that juicy stuff, they're going to have a decision to make. Well, we've got nothing. Trump's not here. What do we report about? Oh my God, it's the stuff from JFK and he's pardoned all these people. We have to report it. It could cause a schism between the Democrats and the media at that point. What else? Economically, it's going to be real rough. But the upshot is Biden will probably get most of the blame for that. Because I think it's going to be clear what's going to happen. Biden may open everything up. I don't think he's going to go through with this 100-day lockdown. I think he's going to magically decide, well, we got the vaccine. I've talked to the doctors. We don't really need to lock things down because I think ultimately he wants the economy to come back the moment he's in power. The moment he's sworn in, he's going to want to oh no, F that virus. It's over. Let's just say it's over. Let's say there's new documentation and it's over. Which at the very least would end this nightmare of a lockdown. And my idiot tyrant governor, Phil Murphy, could go, we got the new evidence, everybody. If that does happen, be a little wary of the beer virus because keep in mind, there is still a bit of a danger, especially if you have comorbidities or you're old. Perhaps the Democrats would then actually find the real science useful. Oh my gosh, here it is. You only have to worry about it if you have comorbidities or your age. To which I would say, F you, F you, F you, because we've been saying that for months now. So the normal, going back to Obama era, not going to be great. But if it's without the virus and Biden struggling and the Trump is still around, I don't think he's going away. He'll take a nice vacation, I hope, get all charged up and come back with a new plan. Probably Trump TV, which, could instantly get, say, 70 million views, which again is real power. So main thing I think is, number one, don't do anything crazy. Number two, don't give the left any ammo. Take the loss with dignity if that's what it is. Hold your head high. We have nothing to apologize for. They have lots to apologize for, quite frankly. And in the coming months, most of these people who screamed and screeched about Trump are going back to sleep because ultimately they're just sheep. That's why they voted for Biden. They were told to vote for Biden. They were told to wear face masks. They were told lots of things. And they were like, okay, oh yeah, Trump is bad. He must be. You told me. Let those people go back to sleep. And in the meantime, we could sort of work, well, as we always do, for a better tomorrow. We build things. And even though we'll have one hand tied behind our back with a guy like Biden at the helm, maybe two hands tied behind our back, we still know that we can do better. And, as long as the community stays relatively intact, and you should go to, say, the Donald.win to keep in touch, and places like that. Support the videos here. Support my books. Geez, I had 2 books where the premise of the book is Trump is reelected in 2021. Wokistan, a novel, and Hollywoke, another novel. Links in the description. You can support me, buy some books, and understand that the fight was never going to be over if Trump had won. We still would have had a lot of work to do. It's just going to be a different different battle. And it may not be as fun without Trump in office. You may be a little tuned out on politics, but try to stay engaged. We got some work to do. We got to fix the elections before 2022 and definitely before 2024. So next time we don't have any issues in that area, right, YouTube?